Welcome everyone. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you guys the recording later, just in case if some of you guys, um, miss out this class. Okay, let me. We are. Let me just see a few settings, and then I can start my class. Here's some setting. Okay, Miss Kelly BB, yes, please, you guys can leave your BBCU link. I'm so sorry. I already left my BBCU link because my internet is very bad. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Hi, Tan Lee Yoon. We can see you. Wait, let me share my screen. Okay. Uh, just in case if you guys cannot hear me or you cannot see my screen, please do let me know. I hope that this is clear for everyone. I always use Google Meet as an alternative for BBCU. Can somebody just share with everyone else the BBCU link in our WhatsApp group, just in case if some of other people cannot or aren't aware of the link itself? Okay, can somebody do that? Thank you very much. Whew. All right, so we are going to start our class now. All right, thank you. Somebody shared it. Thank you very much. So I'm going to start my class. Leah so handsome. Chewa. Okay. So guys, just in case if my line is breaking up and also you guys cannot hear my voice, please do let me know in the chat box or even in our WhatsApp group. Okay. So thank you very much for coming, and I'm so sorry for the trouble and issue of some other people is still. Okay. We have 33, maybe two more. Yeah, we're gonna wait for a while, yeah. My brother. All right, so I hope that this is okay. I want to remind everyone here, especially those people who just enrolled in this class, um, on our assessment for CRI2101. Now, one more thing about CRI2101 is I want everybody here to be a little bit more aware on what is going on with our course. So in order for you to do that, please do download your weekly learning plan over here. And to be completely honest, we are actually moving quite fast as compared to what I have planned for you guys. Okay, so we are already done with subjective objective claim. And today's class, we are going to introduce or we're going to talk about we are going to talk about prescriptive, descriptive, and value judgment. We also will be looking at repairing arguments in our class tomorrow. Do we have class tomorrow? No, on Friday. Okay, and we also want to introduce or we're going to kickstart our case study assignment this Friday. Now, another important thing is that please do enroll in our WhatsApp group. Okay, we do have a WhatsApp group. I'm not sure if those people who are new, you guys are able to see all of the weekly to-do list. But if you guys cannot, this is the link to our WhatsApp group. You guys can click on this link over here. Anybody kind enough to share this in the chat box, that would be nice. And you guys can also scan this QR code and it will help you to redirect to our WhatsApp group immediately. Now, this WhatsApp group is important, ladies and gentlemen, because I did ask you guys to write your name and WhatsApp thread where I ask you guys to write down your name for your group project. Now, because we have additional people coming in, okay, because we have additional people coming in, so we can have, okay, up to 7 people in a group. Okay, we can have up until 7 people in a group. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please, those people who are new, please come to our WhatsApp group, enter it, and then add your name. I need everybody to finalize your group member's name, okay, before tomorrow 12 p.m., before lunch tomorrow. Now, what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to create a group for you guys. You guys don't have to create anything. I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to ask you guys to double check it if there is any issue. If there is any trouble with the grouping, please do let me know before our class on Friday. So I need to do this before our class on Friday, because on Friday we are going to immediately start our case study project. Okay, so those people who are new, please come into our WhatsApp group, scan this QR code over here, and then please enter and write your name in the group. Okay, so we have 5 groups over here. So because we have a few more people coming in, so just add your name below. So I understand for group 4 and group 5 there are only 6 people, but because more people are coming in, y'all can add your name in any groups. So those people who did not do anything or did not write your names in this WhatsApp thread, I will be putting your name in randoms. Okay, so I will be putting in your name in random. So please take note on that. Yes, so that is one important announcement for before I start my class today. Okay, so if there is any issue, you guys can ask your friends. Thank you very much, Grace. Miss, the link cannot see in BB. So Misha, I think because you just enrolled, so you cannot see previous announcement. Grace here is kind enough to give the link to our WhatsApp group. Can you click on this link here? All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next thing is to brief you guys again on the assessments. So you guys are lucky, those people who just came in, because our test was supposed to schedule this Friday. But I understand with a few constraints, we cannot do the test this Friday, but instead we are going to do our test on Wednesday next week, okay? But it's going to be after office hour. Now the reason is because we have a public holiday on Monday. Last Monday we had a public holiday and we're supposed to have a class at 10 to 12 p.m. 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now what I did is that I have replaced 1 hour of Blackboard activity for you guys to do for repairing arguments. Please complete this before Sunday to get your attendance taken for the first hour of Monday, 7 June. But, okay, another hour will be replaced for your test next week. And the test will be Wednesday, 16th of June, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I understand that some of you guys might think that this is out of your, time. But we don't have any other time because we have a couple of sections for this course and we need to do it simultaneously, all together. Okay, we need to do it at the same time. So the only time that we can have everybody is actually outside of office hour. Now, any of you guys could not attend your test, please make sure that you inform me via email or WhatsApp before this Friday 12 p.m. Okay, so if any of you guys cannot attend this test, okay, which should be next week, 1 hour only, please do let me know in advance before this Friday 12 p.m. Okay, please do secure this time. This is important because we need to do it at the same time with another section. And I cannot find another time elsewhere for the replacement or to do the test itself. And we need to do the test as soon as possible so that you guys, because it's a short semester, guys, we have a lot more assessment to do. If I keep on delaying your test, you guys will delay getting your marks. Okay. Now for assignment, I'm gonna go back again. We have 2 tests. Okay, we have 2 tests. The first test is on to repairing arguments and languages. This will be next week. I'm going to do a short briefing about your first test shortly today. The second thing the second test that you guys have to take is on fallacies. Okay, so this will be in week 6. We're sticking it at a Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Okay, so test 1 and test 2 is both 10% of your coursework marks. we have a case study which we will kickstart this Friday. This group project, okay, this group project entails you guys to use different brainstorming or different creative and problem solving tools such as 5 whys, 6 thinking hats, SWOT analysis. And at the end of the day, each group will have to give me a proposal. And then everybody has to do their presentation. That will be 5%. Okay. Um, this one is due. Okay, so for step number 1 to step number 4, which is from 5 whys to SWOT analysis, this will due in week 4. Whereas step 5 and 6, that is onto the proposal and presentation, this one will due in week 5. So this case study is even more marks combination or compared to the combination of your tests, which is 20%. So 30% is only for case study. Please do well in this case study. The first thing that you guys have to do is actually to find group members. Most of you guys have settled that as seen in our WhatsApp group. But those people are not in the WhatsApp group or even who did not write their names, please click again. Okay, I'm going to copy this again because some of your friends just joined and write your name underneath any of those groups. Okay, so one group can have up until 7 people in a group. Right, so we have 2 assignments. These 2 assignments, we call it assignments, but it's actually in class test somehow. The first one is for everybody here to write an argumentative essay. This one will be in next week as well. This one will be next week as well during our class time on Friday. So you have 2 things going on next week. Okay, you have your first test and you also have your argumentative essay next week. There's a lot of things to do. Everybody, please understand and be aware that you have 2 things next week. So the second test or the second assignment or assessment will due, okay, in week 5. So basically, you guys have to reflect on a case study. And for your critical review reading, I'm giving you guys a murder case for critical review reading, and then you guys have to answer the questions for the critical review reading. Okay, so it's gonna be an interesting thing to do. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna help you guys to do a bit of a short activity that can help you to prepare for your critical review reading. Okay, which will be in week 5. Both tutorials or assignments are all individually done. It will be 15% of your whole coursework marks. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another final group assignment, and this group assignment, everybody has to do with the same group member from the case study. We're not going to have 2 separate groups. It will be the same group. Okay, all you guys have to do is just submit to me a simple write-up. I'm going to upload to you guys the template of the write-up so that you guys don't have to create from scratch. This will due in week 7, and the whole point of the assignment is actually to ask you guys to see whether or not what kind of posters or advertisements that can lead to consumers, okay, to be manipulated or to be fooled somehow. And this is 20% of your marks, and altogether this is 100%, and we do not have final exam. But it's going to be a very, very busy week for everybody here. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far for now? Oh, my voice is lagging. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me clearly now? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for informing me. Oh, one of the things that I hate here is that I don't receive the sound of the notification, so I couldn't know if you guys are telling me something in the chat box over here, but it's okay. All right, so we're gonna start our class now. Okay. So test 1 is now moving forward to week 3. Okay, so week 3 you have 2 things. Don't worry about argumentative essay. I'm also going to brief you guys about argumentative essay in our next class as well. All right. So attention with the public holiday last Monday. I know that everybody was having fun, getting an extra extra long weekend, 1 day of weekend. So you guys have to complete two things. The first one is to replace 1 hour with a with a Blackboard activity or repairing argument. This is already available in week two's folder, just in case if anybody cannot did not notice that. Okay, you guys can go to content, go to week two. You guys should be able to see already three things here. So this one will serve as a replacement class for our class on Monday. Please complete this to get your attendance for the first hour for Monday, 7th of June. And then you guys have to come for your test next week, Wednesday, 16th of June, 8 to 9 p.m. Okay, and remember it's 8 to 9 p.m. It's after office hour. All right. So what are the things that will be covered in your test one? Okay, I'm going to be completely honest, it's quite hard. Okay, so your test one, don't worry, it's only 10%. Okay, it's hard, but guys, this is open book test. You guys can go and check out the, if you guys are unaware of if it's a claim or not claim, you guys can refer to the slides. Okay, but you're not allowed to discuss with your friends. You'll be surprised on how we can actually got a lot of information about people cheating, and we are able to catch people to cheat. And yes, you guys are the one who told us as well. Okay, don't trust your friends. In conclusion. So the topics that will be covered in your first test will be claims, premises, and arguments, which are the things that we have covered before. So if any of you guys are not clear on these, please go ahead and look at the recordings from previous, previous lectures and also slides. It's very, very concept based, so please make sure that you understand the concept, and it will be quite hard for you to understand the next thing that we are going to learn if you don't understand what is claim, what are premises, and what makes an argument. Okay, we also learn about ambiguity, vagueness, and also overgeneralized claim. We have learned on subjective and objective claims before. In today's class, we are going to learn about descriptive, prescriptive, and value judgment. And finally, I'm hoping that we are able to cover on repairing arguments. So there are a lot of things going on in your first test. Make sure that you guys complete your understanding. Okay, keep make sure that you understand all of these things. If any of you guys would like some extra help, you guys can ask me for a consultation, but please make sure that you guys go and watch the recording first. Make sure that you understand a couple things. If you want me to do a consultation with you, I will be asking you guys on a couple things. I cannot repeat and redo the lectures all over again because it will be unfair, and as well taking other people's time as well. Okay, so please go to the recording, watch the recording. If there are things that you don't understand, you can WhatsApp me and ask me, or you can schedule an appointment to ask me. Okay, some of your friends after the class, they went back and revised and then asked me question, and I immediately answered in WhatsApp, so it should be fine. Okay, right, so this is the structure of your test. There are 5 sections. Okay, there's a lot of things going on. 5 sections. The first section is on to claim. Okay, so this is 20 marks. If it's a claim, you have to write C in the box and you have to give reasons. If it's not a claim, you put not claim or NC in the box and provide why it's not a claim. Okay, there are 2 tests for you to do claims. The first one is to see whether or not it is what kind of word, what kind of sentence? Descriptive sentence. And number 2, you have to see if the sentence entailing true or false. Okay, so you have to do the 2 tests in order for you to know if it's a claim or not a claim. Okay, so this is 20 marks. The second section is onto vague, ambiguous, and also overgeneralized questions. Okay, so if it's a vague sentence, you have to write B. If it's an overgeneralized sentence, you have to write OG. And for question 17 and 18, you have to give me what could be the possible meanings of these sentences. So we have two sentences, and when it comes to ambiguous sentences, people can understand, we can have more than one meanings because the words that are being used in these ambiguous sentences could mean two different things or three different things. Okay, so you have to give me what could be the possible meanings for those sentences. All right. The third section is onto objective and subjective claims. This is 10 marks. If it's an objective claim, you have to write O in the box and provide reasons. Now, you guys, throughout the test, they all will ask you reasons. Why? Because this is critical thinking class. You have to give your reasons. Okay, so if it's a subjective claim, you have to write S and give reasons. And if it's intersubjective claim, you have to write IS and then provide the reasons. Okay, in section D, we have descriptive and prescriptive claim. We're going to talk more about this in our class. Okay, if it's a descriptive claim, you have to write D and give reasons why it's descriptive. Whereas if it's prescriptive claim, you have to write P and write down why it's a prescriptive claim. Excuse me. Right. So in section E, you have to analyze if the given questions are argument or not. If it's an argument, you have to give me what are the premises and also conclusion. If it's not an argument, you only have to write NA and provide why these are this is not an argument. Okay. So literally everything you guys have learned in exception to section D. Okay, so you actually have learned everything except section D. Okay, so there are a lot of things to cover. I'm so sorry, but this is how CRI works. Okay, I know this is quite overwhelming to some people. Okay, but you guys can do this. Don't worry too much. Test one, test two, 10% on Lima. Don't stress too much. Okay, so now what I want to do is that I want to see if you guys are able to remember what we have learned from our previous class. So I want you guys, okay, to try and answer these questions. What is an objective claim? What is a subjective claim? What is intersubjective claim? And what does it mean by subjectivist fallacy? And we did not notice that we actually perhaps have done some of these fallacies. Okay, so can you try and so can you guys answer this by clicking on this Padlet or discussion, online discussion over here. If you guys have your phone, you can also go and scan this QR code and try to answer these questions. Can you try and do this? I'm going to give you guys around 5 minutes to do this. Can you guys do this? Thank you very much. 5 minutes. I'm going to open some song. I hope that you guys can hear it because my internet is quite bad. Okay. Try to do this in 5 minutes. Yeah. welcome back. Thank you very, very much. So one of your friends, and sorry, one of your friends asked if repairing argument will be um, will be asked or not. Actually, I forgot. I just looked at it just now, but I actually forgot already. But it might and it might not. Let's go back again to refer how is it contributing or how is it possible that way. So for this one, section E, if it's an argument, you have to write A. But you also have to see whether or not there are premises and also conclusion from the argument. If it's not an argument, you have to give reasons for why it's not an argument and write an A. But if you were to repair the argument, you need to write additional premises or provide the conclusion. Now, the reason why it's not an argument, because the formula for an argument is an argument equals to premise or premises. It could be one, it could be more than one premises, okay, plus a conclusion. In order for you to have an argument, you need one or more premises plus conclusion. So if it's not an argument, it means that one of these is missing. It's either they don't have premises or they don't have conclusion. Okay, so in order for you to make it as an argument, okay, you might improve the argument by adding premises or conclusion. That is what you will learn in repairing argument later. Okay, so there could be a possibility that you have to repair the argument, especially for those or to the question that says it's not an argument. But I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly, but I will inform you guys if that is the case. Okay, so I will inform you guys if that is the case for this. Okay, all right. All right, so let's continue now on to looking at some of the questions. Some people are, I like it when you guys are thinking, okay? So instead of writing it down, you just screenshot my, slides. What a smart way. Okay, so this is actually accurate, okay? But I want to see if any of you guys give me your own answers. So objective claim is a statement that can be proved to be true or false. Oh. Subjective claim is judgment of feelings. Very good. Objective claim is a factual statement based on what people believe in, whether it's true or not. Yeah. Subjective claim often expressed. Oh, objective or subjective? Okay. Can be true, can be false. Conditional individual peculiarities of individual. Okay, what is this? Verifiability of the capacity of a concept to be readily and accurately communicated between different art. What is this? Did you just Google Translate or what? What is this? All right, so let's have a look at what these things mean. Okay, so what is objective claim, what is subjective claim, and what is intersubjective claim? Now, the diagram is, you guys will be seeing me using the diagram again because it basically summarizes all of the things that we learn on that, okay? So let's take a look. Objective claim is fair and impartial. It's not a biased claim, okay? So when you look at the claim, you will see, okay, that it is a fair claim. How do you know if it's a fair claim? Let's take a look at, okay, for example, you go to the weighing scale and the weighing scale, you know, indicates that you are 80 kilograms. So this is a fair and impartial. It doesn't lie. It doesn't, you know, have biasness to it because it's something that is absolute. Okay, it's fair and impartial. Okay, there's nobody saying anything. Nobody will be affecting the weighing scale. It's just how it is. Okay, so objective claim. Okay, objective claim is the opposite of subjective claims. Okay, objective claim can also come from an expert. Okay, so objective claim doesn't necessarily just come from maybe like the weighing scale or anything else. Okay, it could also come from expert. Okay, but we're going to discuss more about it. We have discussed this in previous class, So if you guys still confused with it, please go back to the recording and look at the examples that I gave when we have what if a doctor say it, what does it mean? If someone else say it, what does it mean? Excuse me. The next thing is what we call as subjective claim. Just like what you guys mentioned in the answers here, subjective claims often influenced by someone else's opinion about something. So it's actually according to someone's preference, someone's feeling, someone's judgment, rather than something that is objective, something that is absolute. Okay, so it's basically it depending on somebody. Okay, so this one, okay, the example that I gave is Kim is fat. In according to Ajuma or aunties in Korea, Kim is considered as fat, and it's something that is subjective because it only depends on what these people think. Okay, of what this Ajuma think about Kim. Okay, but if for someone else maybe Kim is not fat. Okay, so this claim that Kim is fat here is a subjective claim because different people would have different interpretations of fat, first of all. Second of all, fat here is a very, very impolite word, and I wouldn't use it personally. So, yes. So the problem is also with the word here. Okay. The next thing is onto intersubjective claim. Now, intersubjective claim here falls under subjective claim. Huh? You notice that it just means that it's additional word of, we call it prefix inter here. What it means is that, okay, it's according to people in that community. Okay, let's say okay, remember intersubjective is part of subjective claim. Okay, this is subjective claim is a bigger umbrella for intersubjective claim. It means that the whole people in the community believe that Kim is fat, okay, because there is a standard going on there as well. So intersubjective claim is intersubjective if everybody in the community believes that it's true or everybody agrees that it's false, then it's that. Okay, so we all know that when it comes to countries like Korea, there is a certain standard of beauty going on there. So maybe as a whole, the or everybody they consider someone who is pretty, based on certain standard. So that was be something that we call as intersubjective claim. Okay, so don't get confused. Intersubjective is part of subjective claim. Okay, so it's also a subjective claim, but we call it inter because everybody most of people in the community believe in the claim. Okay. The next thing is what we're going to call a term that we refer as subjective fallacy. Okay, so I mentioned before fallacy means mistakes. Okay, fallacy means bad reasoning. So subjectivist fallacy is when you think a subjective claim is objective claim. Okay, let me give you an example. Subjective claim. You want to say, Miss Farah is pretty. Okay? Miss Farah is pretty is something that is objective. It's an objective claim. Okay, so you are committing subjective fallacy if you want to argue that Miss Farah is very pretty. Everybody here listen to me. Miss Farah is pretty. Everyone needs to agree with me. So when you want people to agree to you or influence people, and you say that your claim is objective, where it's clearly subjective, you are committing a subjective fallacy. Okay, again, fallacy is bad reasoning. It's not good. Okay, just like the example here, it's a trend in China where they want to consider a woman or a girl pretty by having, okay, an A4 paper, and if your hip, okay, if we cannot see your belly, because it's concealed. So your belly has to be smaller, or your waist has to be smaller than this A4 paper, means that you are pretty. Okay, so you are very pretty girl or admirable in China. So this is a subjectivist fallacy. You are committing to subjective fallacy if you agree that, oh, this should be the standard. This is obviously a subjective claim. You cannot say what constitutes as pretty or not pretty, right? Because it's something that is subjective. Okay, it depends on someone. Okay, somebody might think that Emma Watson is pretty. Some people don't think so. Okay, so it really depends on a person. So what I can say is that intersubjective claim and also subjectivist fallacy. Okay, this all in under subjective claim. It's all the same thing. Okay, it's all under the same thing. Okay, all right. Okay, so we are moving to our next. We are moving to our next agenda for today. Um, we are only going to introduce to descriptive and prescriptive claim. Should we proceed with descriptive and prescriptive claim, or do you guys want to have your break first? Which one do you guys want to have? Do you want to have your break first, or you want immediately start with the class? Yes, definitely. Tan is saying an example of Asian China crushing their feet into a smaller shoe. Yes, I actually heard about it. Like they have a very small shoe that you have to fit into that shoe to be considered as desirable. Okay, so now my next question: do you guys want me to start with descriptive and prescriptive claim, or do you guys want me to um, have a break now? Which one do you guys want? You want to have a break now? Okay. All right. So you guys can have your break for 5 minutes. Okay. Toilet break for 5 minutes, guys. We will be back at 2:50, 8:57 p.m. and then we can continue with our class. Okay. So I see you in a bit. We're still gonna use this Google Meet. Don't go anywhere else. Okay. See you guys in a bit. Go and wash your face because there will be more things to cover or more things for us to be confused about in a bit. Okay. All right. So see you guys. Enjoy your break. Welcome back, everybody. Miss, for the Blackboard activity, is it still on? Was it still due on 4th and 5th? Last week activity is done. Let me see the question. Uh, it's okay, Michelle, because you weren't there last week, so it's fine. It's all right. All you guys have to do is just make sure that you complete this one because you only enrolled this week. Okay. All right, so we are going to continue now with our next part of our class for today. We will be looking at differentiating between descriptive and prescriptive claim. We are looking at value judgment and the relationship that it has with prescriptive claim because it's very, very related. Um, we also will be touching on certain standards when it comes to prescriptive claim. In today's class, it's going to be a little bit hard because we have to cover on evaluating arguments as well. When you are able to evaluate the argument, whether or not it is valid or invalid, if it's a strong or weak, good or bad, then only you'll be able to improve or repair the argument. Okay, so it's also a part of identifying plausible premises and also identifying indicator words. Okay, I hope you guys are ready. Okay. All right, let's have a look at now onto these two sentences that we have right here. And I want everybody to look at these two sentences. So the first one, drunk drivers kill more people than sober people do. There should be a law against drunk driving. Drunk driving. Okay, so here I want everybody to see these two sentences because these two sentences are almost the same information, but the way it's being conveyed is two different things. And I want you guys to see maybe right now, okay, without knowing anything, without being introduced to anything, I want everybody here to make a guess. Which one do you think is descriptive and which one do you think is prescriptive? Okay. All right. Now, when it comes to descriptive or prescriptive, in any kind of claims that people make, it could be in a form of descriptive or prescriptive. Now, what is a descriptive claim? A descriptive claim is where it describes what is it, what is the situation, what is going on. Okay, so that one, what we call as descriptive. On the other hand, we also have prescriptive. Now, prescriptive, is where it is meant to describe what should be, okay? What it should be done, okay? What it is. So if we go back again on these two, I think it's very obvious which one is which, okay? So for the first one, drunk drivers kill more people than sober drivers do. So this is obviously a descriptive. Why? Because it's describing, okay, it's describing the current information or the current situation of drunk drivers killing more people than sober people do. Okay. On the other hand, this one is very obviously this is a prescriptive. Why? Because it is mentioning or it's a sentence that tells us what should be done. Okay, so going back again on the definition, in case if you guys miss out on this one, descriptive is a claim that describes what is it, okay, what it is. On the other hand, prescriptive is where it's meant to describe what should be. Okay, so you'll be able to see when you read a sentence or when you read a claim, you are able to identify if it's a descriptive or prescriptive. Okay, let's take a look at another example now. Selling cocaine is against the law. Is this describing the situation, or is it trying to prescribe the situation going on here? Anybody wants to make a guess? Let me know in the here. Oh, okay. Sorry. Descriptive or prescriptive? Descriptive. Very good. This is descriptive. I don't know if Malaysian law has this law. I'm not sure. Okay. What about this one? You shouldn't sell cocaine. Is this descriptive or prescriptive? Very good, guys. Wonderful job. Excellent. This is prescribing it. Okay, so you would notice by now when it comes to prescriptive claims, normally, not always, normally, it will entail, or it would have uh, modal verbs like should, shouldn't. Okay, so that is how you know it's prescribing something. All right, what about this? Government must not legalize marijuana. Good, this is prescribing. Okay, what about this one? I'm hot. You should take your sweater off. Okay, is this descriptive or prescriptive? Okay, so one of your friends here made a very excellent point. Now you have to notice there are two people talking here. So Ken here is describing his situation. He's hot. Okay, not hot as if in physical attractiveness. Hot in terms of temperature, maybe here. Okay, so Dan here is prescribing it. He then mentions that he should take his sweater off. So this is very, very important, guys. This is a critical thinking class. Okay, you have to be very, very critical. You cannot assume these two are, the same argument. Okay, so here this is making a claim to say that he's hot, and he's describing that he's hot, whereas Dan here is trying to prescribe Ken situation, saying that, oh, you should take your sweater off. Okay. All right. So now let's move into prescriptive judgment, right? Prescriptive claim and its relationship with value judgment. Now, when we talk about prescriptive, it's always looking at what a certain thing should have been. It should be done. You know, the modal verbs like should, must, could. Okay, so all of those modal verbs. So when somebody says something is good or better or best or worse or worst, okay, it's also, okay, it's also suggesting a term that we call as value judgment. Okay, so it's meaning to say that it's prescriptive because we are prescribing what is good, what is best, what is wrong, what is not good. Okay, so normally, not always the case, but normally, okay, most value judgment is based on prescriptive claim, but this is not always the case. Huh? Most of the time, it is prescriptive claim. Okay, why is it so? Because when you have a value judgment based on something else, you are basically having a standard, and you also mention that what is good. Okay, he should have done this. He should have worn this. He should have, used this instead of that. So basically, you are making a value judgment, and it's based on a prescriptive claim. Okay. Let's say, for example, here, this is a type of value judgment. Is this a prescriptive claim, though? Texting while driving is bad. Do you guys think that this is a prescriptive claim? Okay. Is this a prescriptive claim? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So even though here this sounds a little bit like how to say it, texting while driving is bad. What is also mean, okay, what it also mean is that basically what I'm saying is that another way of us understanding this is also mentioning that no one should text while we're driving. Okay, so it's actually a form of prescriptive claim. Okay, this one, it's wrong to cheat in exam. Is this a prescriptive claim? Okay, excuse me. Yes, so this is a prescriptive claim because it's basically mean that students should not cheat in exam. Very good. All right, so this one, you should see improvement in your chest pains by the end of the week. Okay, you should see some improvement. Is this prescriptive? This can get a little bit tricky. Is this prescriptive claim? You answering to this or? All right, so this one is not prescriptive. Okay, so that is why I mentioned, okay, not, okay, even though normally in prescriptive claim, we always have words like should, modal verbs like this, okay, but that is not the case here. In this case, the word should is showing probability. It doesn't show that it's suggesting something, okay? So there is here, should here is indicating probability. Okay, all right, so this is actually not prescriptive. Okay. Cats are disagreeable animals. Is this prescriptive? Is this prescriptive claim? Cats are disagreeable animals. Yes. No. 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 Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe that one was from previous one. Okay, so this is actually a value judgment where you think there is a certain entailment of uh, good or bad there, but because there is no word should, okay, doesn't mean that it's prescriptive. Okay, so this is an example of value judgment that is not prescriptive. Okay, that is not prescriptive. All right. That's enough ice cream for you, Pamela. What do you mean? There is no such thing as too much ice cream. Okay, this is interesting. Is this prescriptive or not prescriptive? No, no, no. Okay, I hope this is answering to this question. So this is a very interesting example that we have here. So Jack here is making a prescriptive claim because he is basically saying to Pamela that she should stop eating ice cream. But here, this one is very interesting. Pamela here is a very strong character. She says that, oh, what do you mean? There is no such thing as too much ice cream. So what she's doing now is she is defying using a standard. Okay, so she's saying, what do you mean? What are you based on? When you say this, what is your claim based on? What she's doing here is she's actually challenging Jack's argument using an unstated standard. So we're going to talk about standard now. Okay, so when it comes to prescriptive claim, okay, it does normally based on certain standard, what it should be, what it should not be. Okay, so when we talk about claims, okay, because it should entail true or false. Okay, sometimes when people give prescriptive claims, it's as if they're talking based on certain kind of standard. Okay, when you are giving prescriptive claim and you say, oh, you should eat that, you should not eat that, but my question is, what is it based on? When you have this claim, where is this based on? Okay, we're going to talk about standard now. Let's take a look at this example around here. We have abortion is wrong. Okay, abortion is wrong. My question is there any standard from this? Okay, why do you think it's wrong? Why is abortion wrong? Is there any kind of standard that we're looking at? So that is why critical thinking is also a little bit debatable. Some people might think that this is wrong, some people might think this is right. It all depends on your premises, your reasonings. Okay, so make sure when you give your reasoning, make sure it's not feelings, make sure that it is not subjective. Okay, good premises is normally objective claims. Okay, but when we talk about right now, we want to talk about standards now. So now when let's say for example we have one court, and this court is based on two people, two lawyers. One want to say abortion is wrong, one want to say abortion is not wrong, it's something that should be allowed. Okay, so everybody is debating this is good or bad, and this is a very very fragile topic, because okay, it does entail to certain type of morality and certain type of culture that we have. So the issue is, okay, this is actually prescriptive. Why? Because you are saying that there should not be any kind of abortion cases, or Malaysia government should not allow abortion, for example, and it's entailing a prescription. And the issue with prescription or prescribed claim is that what kind of standard has it based on? When we say abortion is wrong, does it come from Bible? Does it come from the Quran? Does it come from a standard morality that everybody, regardless of religion, do understand? Okay, so that is the question when it comes to uh, prescriptive claim. Okay, now the next one is eating dog is bad. Okay, eating dog is bad. So this one is also an example of prescriptive. So when we say eating dog is bad, it's also suggesting that you should not eat dogs. But okay, the question here now, if you want to agree to this claim that eating dog is bad, where is the standard coming from? Does it come from the community of the vegetarian community? Does this come from the Quran? Does it come from certain kind of morality? Does it come from animal rights? Where is this standard falls from? Okay, so this is where a lot of debates can happen. Okay, this is where we can see people's critical thinking and trying to persuade based on which type of standard and why we should agree onto the standards. Okay, that is why this is critical thinking, because you have to give your own reasonings and you have to think of the best type of reasoning for you to back up your arguments or your claims. Okay, next one, it is wrong to kill people. It's wrong to kill a people is a prescriptive. Okay, so why is this wrong to kill people? Which base is this from? So when it comes to prescriptive claim, again, when it comes to prescriptive claim, normally it does accept a certain standard of what it should be, or it assumes, okay, assumes that this is the standard by itself. Okay, just like this example that oh, it's wrong to kill people. Okay, here this is taken as the standard itself. It means that regardless of anybody else, across religion, across literally anything. Okay, so the standard understanding of the law in anybody in the whole universe, okay, it's wrong to kill people. Okay, but what we can debate on is what kind of punishment should we give to these people who committed murders and stuff. Okay, so now what I want everybody to do now is that I want you to try and do this yourself. We have a simple three claims here. I want you guys to tell me if it's a prescriptive or descriptive. And you also have to give me reasons why this is prescriptive or descriptive. Okay, so I want you guys to try and do this in around 5 minutes if you can. Can you please try to do this and do take a photo of your answer and post it in our WhatsApp group. Okay. try and do this very quickly. I want to see if you guys can understand this or not. Very quickly, guys. You don't have to take a lot of time for this. Guys, can you try to do the exercise here, because this is something that is very, very similar to your first test. Okay, so you have to give, first of all, you have to see whether or not this is descriptive or prescriptive, and also you have to give reasons why this is prescriptive or descriptive. Okay, so can you try and give me your answers via WhatsApp group, and then we'll, quickly discuss what does it mean, or a quick discussion about this. Okay, try and do that. Thank you very much. All right. So some of you guys have posted your answers here in our WhatsApp group, because it's cruel and immoral. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at the answers now. So the first one, dissecting monkeys without anesthesia or anesthetic, is cruel and immoral. This is prescriptive. So this claim suggests that the act of dissecting monkey without the use of anesthesia is cruel and immoral. Okay, so basically it's suggesting that this is cruel, and this is actually prescribing that the action is cruel and immoral. So it's basically prescribing it. Okay. The second one, dissecting monkeys without anesthesia is prohibited by National Science Foundation funding guideline. So this claim describes the ethical guideline funded by this organization here, that this dissecting animals or dissecting monkeys without anesthesia is prohibited. So it's describing the actual situation or the fact that it is prohibited. The third one here is, it says this is a prescribed or prescriptive claim because it asserts a certain standard. Okay, so it's saying that should be or should not be. Therefore, like in this particular situation here, it's basically prescribing that Larry should not marry his sister. So basically, it is prescriptive because it is a certain thing should be or should not be. Okay, therefore, this is a prescribed or prescriptive claim. All right. So let's move on now to our next thing for us to study on, or for us to look at today. And this is very much based on what we have learned before. Okay. Okay. So the first thing is for you to remember what makes an argument and what is the formula of an argument. I briefly mentioned this to you guys, but can you let me know in the chat box over there? Alabamians reacting to Alabamians. You. All right. So can you tell me what is the formula of an argument? So we learned about argument before in our class. Can you just let me know in the chat box? What is an argument and what makes an argument? Very good. Arguments equals to one or more premises plus one conclusion. Now, crucial fact when it comes to conclusion, there should only be one single conclusion in one argument. Okay? Remember, in one argument, there could be one conclusion only. But your premises could be more than one. Okay? Even the more premises is better. All right, so here let's recap again. Argument is an attempt to convince someone, possibly even yourself, that a particular claim called conclusion is true by giving one or more claim as reasons. Okay, so the formula of an argument is, excuse me, one slash many premises plus one conclusion only. So there could only be one conclusion in one single argument. Now, an argument, as I mentioned, could be in different forms. It could be in a form of a poster. It could be in a form of a signage. It could be in a form of a cartoon drawing. An argument could be in a form of a writing itself. Okay, so it really depends. Okay, an argument. Let's move into premises. So premises, as I mentioned, is referring to reasons or evidence into trying to support why your conclusion is true. Okay, so a conclusion is essentially what the arguer is trying to convince the reader or the listener, and what the argument is trying to prove. Now, I keep on mentioning to you guys, the closest or the easiest way for you to know what is conclusion is actually to know what is essentially the main idea of the whole argument. Okay, so there could only be one conclusion in one single argument. When you want to differentiate between premises and arguments, please look for indicator words. Okay, please try to look for indicator words. When it comes to, try to differentiate between premises and conclusion. Okay, so you want to know which one is conclusion, which one is premises, because as part of our exercise in arguments, you have to know which one is premises and which one is conclusion. So if you want to know if it's a conclusion, typically it would have these words. Words like so, therefore, hence, thus, consequently, we can then derive, and it follows that. So these are some of the indicator words to indicate that it's conclusion. On the other hand, we also have indicator words for premises. Words like since, because, for, in as much as, given that, suppose that, it follows from. So these are some of the indicator words for premises. Okay, so when you want to differentiate which one is premises, which one is conclusion, please try and find these words. All right. Now, I want everybody now to take a moment to read these two scenarios over here. On the left, okay, on the left, we have here, Mike says he visited Mexico. He speaks Spanish and he described the town he visited. Let's take a look at the conclusion now. So Mike really visited Mexico. Right, on the other hand, on the right side here, we also have the same premises. We say, Mike says he visited Mexico. He speaks Spanish and he described the town he visited. Now, the difference between the one in the left and also the one in the right is only the conclusion here. So maybe Mike visited Mexico. So I want you guys to look at these two arguments here. And can you guys tell me where is the difference? What's the difference between the one on the left and also the one on the right? Can you let me know in the chat box if you actually notice the difference between the one or the arguments on the left and also the argument on the right? I'm going to come back and look at it and show you guys again. So what's the difference between the one on the left and also the one on the right? What does it mean? The one on the left and the one on the right. What's the difference, ladies and gentlemen? What's the difference between the arguments on the left and also the arguments on the right side here? So the obvious difference is the last sentence down there that is highlighted in blue. Am I right? So it is exactly almost the same argument, but they both have different conclusions. Now, the conclusion for the difference is this one, it's saying really visited Mexico. On the right, it says maybe he visited Mexico. So now it's when you use certain words like maybe, really, it's basically suggesting the speaker's attitude towards the argument. So if you say the word so really instead of saying so maybe, okay, so it's suggesting that the speaker is convinced. If you use really, it means that you are convinced that the argument is valid or strong. Okay, but it doesn't make, okay, it doesn't show or it doesn't mean that the argument is valid or strong. Okay, so here it's suggesting the speaker's attitude. Okay, so these words are comments of a claim, but it is not part of the claim. It's just basically, suggesting, people's attitude towards the conclusion itself. All right. Okay. So at the end of today's lesson here, well, we are going to introduce you guys to valid, invalid argument, strong, weak argument, and also good and bad argument. Let's take a look at the time now. Okay. So here, I want everybody here to take a look at this figure here. Okay. So here we have valid and invalid. So basically, this figure here summarizes the whole thing that we are about to learn. Now, the first thing is to differentiate between valid and invalid. So here, for valid and invalid, there could only be two. It's either it's valid argument or it's invalid argument. Okay. However, arguments that are invalid, it could be strong arguments. It could be weak arguments. Okay. But these two strong and weak arguments are all bad arguments. Okay, I know that it's a little bit confusing in terms of semantics. So first of all, I want everybody here to understand there are two things. Number one, an argument could be valid, it could be invalid. Got that? Okay, now you got it. One, okay, an argument should only be valid or invalid. However, invalid argument could also be strong argument or weak argument. However, these two strong and weak arguments are bad arguments because these are invalid arguments. Okay, so I hope that you guys managed to catch that somehow, but in case if you did not, these are some of the keywords and definition to all of these. Okay, let's move to the valid and invalid first. So valid argument is valid, or an argument is valid if there is no way, impossible, no possibility at all that the premises is true and the conclusion is false at the same time. So basically, you have to agree that the premises are all true and the conclusion is true. Therefore, it's valid argument. Okay, so invalid argument could be the premises, okay, the premises is true, but the conclusion is false. Or something that is about the premises, maybe one of the premises is incorrect or untrue, but the conclusion is false. So it could be invalid argument. However, let's go back again. Okay. However, invalid argument could be a strong argument. Why? Because strong argument means that the possibility, okay, for the premises to be true and the conclusion is false, but the possibility is very unlikely. What it basically means is that your conclusion, or sorry, your premises are good premises. There could also be a possibility that your conclusion is false. So that is why it is an invalid argument. But it could also mean, okay, invalid argument could also mean that it's a weak argument. It's a weak argument because, okay, of the possibility for the premises to be true and the conclusion to be false doesn't seem very likely. So it's very small possibility that it's, that. Okay, so this is a weak argument. It means that all of your premises are all bad, could be. But your conclusion could be true, or maybe you give three premises, and out of the three premises, two are bad, or two are false. But the conclusion could be true because one of the premises itself. Okay, so here, okay, um, weak and strong argument really depends on your premises. Now let's go into now good argument and bad argument. So good argument is when the premises give good reasons to believe that the conclusion is true. However, bad arguments are the premises are not good enough for the conclusion to be true. It can get a little bit overlapping. Valid argument is always good arguments. Invalid arguments are always bad arguments, but invalid arguments could be a strong argument because out of the three premises, two of the premises are good ones or true. Okay? However, weak arguments are weak and bad. Why? Because, for example, you give three premises. Out of the three premises, two are bad, one is good. Or two are true, one is incorrect. Or two out of three are false. Okay, that is why it's a weak argument. Now this is crucial because you have to improve on the premises in order for you to make it into a valid argument, or by knowing which premises are bad, okay, or which premises are not good, could also help you to improve your arguments. Okay, that is why we need to differentiate on this. But ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about this semantics. Don't worry about this key definition. It's just some basic thing for you guys to understand on the concept. But you don't really have to memorize all of these. Okay, so this won't come out in your test. Don't worry. Is this a good argument, bad argument, weak argument, valid argument? But you need to know how to improve on these arguments, how to improve on the premises so that you can make it into a good argument instead of a bad argument. Okay? Now, okay, so this is also another, how to say it, this is also another figure to help you guys, okay? To help you guys to understand. So here we have every way that the premises could be true, the conclusion is true. This is the definition of valid argument. An argument is valid when all of your premises are true and your conclusion is true. Therefore, your argument is valid. Got it? Do I make it clear? Okay. So in order for you to make a valid argument, all of your premises have to be true. Your conclusion also have to be true. Therefore, it's a valid argument. For invalid argument, your conclusion is false. Now, this could be in one of the two cases. Number one is when your conclusion is very unlikely to be false. Now, the reason why your conclusion is unlikely to be false is because your premises is not supporting your conclusion. Okay, you give three premises, two only two of your premises are acceptable. Therefore, it's a strong argument. On the other hand, when you have three premises, two are false and one is true. So it makes a weak argument because your conclusion or your premises doesn't support your conclusion. I know that this could be somehow confusing. Let's take a look at example. So here, let's see. Every student in this class had paid tuition. Sue is a student in this class. So Sue has paid tuition. Now, let's first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let's first of all have a look at the argument here. We have a single argument here. This is the conclusion. We know it's a conclusion. Why? Because of the indicator word so. So here we see this as conclusion. These two are the premises. Now this is considered as valid argument. Why? Because, okay, so let's take a look at the first premise. We say that every student in this class has paid tuition. Everybody in this class, we have 30 students. All 30 students has paid the tuition. Got it? Understand the first premise? We have 30 students in this class. All of our students, all 30 students has paid the tuition. Let's take a look at the second premise here. Sue is a student in this class. So is Sue part of the 30 students? Yes. So Sue has paid tuition. This is the conclusion that we can make. This is a valid argument. Why? Because in order for you to make sure that the conclusion is true, both of the premises is true, acceptable. Hence, it's a valid argument. Do you get that? Do you see that? Okay, let's take a look at another example here. So Harry, every time I remember eating eggs in the last couple of weeks, I've broken out in a rash. Your skin goes into very red. Okay, it's a situation where it's very uncomfortable situation. It couldn't be the butter or the oil they fried in, because I remember it's happening when I had hard-boiled eggs too. I must have developed an allergy to eggs. Is this valid? Invalid? Is this strong or weak argument? So for this one, this is definitely a strong argument. Hence, it's invalid argument. Okay, so here, let's break it down. Okay, so the conclusion for this is that I must have developed an allergy to eggs. Okay, so this is Harry's argument. He said that he has developed an allergy to eggs. And his premises are, number one, every time he eats eggs, okay, he is broken out in a rash. Second premise, it couldn't be because of the butter or the oil, because every time this happens is because when he eats a hard-boiled eggs. Okay, so this is, okay, so first of all, there is a possibility, okay, it could be something else. It shouldn't just about the eggs itself. It could be something external. That is why it could be considered as invalid argument. Because, okay, assuming that Harry is not lying, okay, because we wouldn't know. It could be that one day he actually ate something fried, okay, or the eggs was fried. Okay, assuming that he did not lie to us, and he said that he eats hard-boiled eggs all the time. Okay, assuming that that is the case. Okay, but that it could not be the only possible thing. It couldn't just be because of the eggs. It could be because of something else. It could be because a new virus, or perhaps something that he drinks instead of just the eggs itself. Okay, so throughout the couple of weeks, there could be other possibilities as well. It shouldn't just be about the eggs itself. Okay, so that is why this is invalid argument, because there could be some other potential thing that is happening as well. Okay, but this is a strong argument. Why? Because his premises are all quite consistent. Okay, let's take a look at his premises. He says that every time he eat eggs, okay, he has rashes. And it couldn't be because of the butter or the oil they're fried in, because it's happening when he eats hard-boiled eggs only. So here, this is actually quite a good argument, but it's not valid because the two premises are actually interrelated to each other. But there is a possibility that it doesn't caused by the eggs itself. It could be something else. So to conclude that Harry has developed an allergy to the eggs is actually false. So that is why it's invalid argument, because the conclusion is very unlikely to be false. However, we can consider this as a strong argument. Okay. All right. So here, Miss Farah is a teacher. She teaches critical thinking. Thus, Miss Farah here is a vegetarian. Is this valid? Invalid? If it's invalid argument, is this a strong one or is this a weak one? Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look now. We know that the conclusion here is the third sentence here. Miss Farah is a vegetarian because of the indicator word thus here. So is the conclusion more likely to be true to make it as valid argument? So this is actually a weak argument. Why? Because let's take a look at the premises that is being used here. So the first premise is Miss Farah is a lecturer. Okay. She teaches critical thinking. Okay, accepted. So, but the problem is the conclusion is not tally to, or it doesn't make sense. It doesn't link to your conclusion. So your premises is not supporting into the conclusion that Miss Farah is a vegetarian. Okay, so the conclusion is very unlikely to be false. Hence, it's an invalid argument. Not only this is an invalid argument, but this is also a very weak argument. Okay. All right. Okay. So I know a lot of you guys are a little bit more confused now. I'm like, what? Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. So let me try to conclude this. Let me try to conclude our lesson earlier. Okay. In order for you to know if an argument is valid or invalid, you have to look at the conclusion. If the conclusion is true, given that the premises are supporting the conclusion, okay, it means that it is a valid argument. Just like the example here, Sue has paid tuition. Why? Because every student in this class has paid tuition, and Sue is a student in this class. Okay, so this conclusion that Sue has paid tuition was backed up with two very, very good premises. The first premise is that every student in this class has paid tuition. And the second premise is Sue is a student in this class. Therefore, the conclusion is true based on these two premises. Got it? So this is why we call it as a valid argument. When your conclusion is false, then it falls under invalid argument. Now the conclusion will be false. Why? Because of your premises. Now let's take a look at invalid argument. Invalid argument could be strong argument. It could be weak argument. A strong argument is where your conclusion is very unlikely to be false. Okay, so the probability for you to get the conclusion to be false is very unlikely, but it's still false. Okay, uh, the difference between valid and strong argument is that the conclusion is absolutely true in valid, but for strong argument, there could be some potential, there could be some probability that the conclusion is false. Got it? So that is the difference between valid and strong. Okay, strong, absolutely true, therefore it's valid. But for strong argument, okay, for strong argument, there could be possibility that it is false. Okay, just like the example of Harry earlier, it could be because, okay, he wanted to assume, or he wanted to make a claim that he has developed an allergy to eggs, and his premises is only because a couple weeks ago he has rashes, and he remember because he eats hard boiled eggs. Okay, hard boiled eggs only. But what about fried? What about, I don't know, can you yeah, stir fry or whatever that. Okay, so but his instances, his second premise, he's only mentioning about the hard boiled eggs. Okay, but maybe if they are being fried, if maybe if it's being fried, he doesn't come out to be, or he doesn't have rashes. Maybe if it's cooked with the rice, or maybe if you cook it in a sense that you put it as part of the main dish itself rather than just hard boiled eggs, maybe Harry did not develop into rash. That is why, that is why, okay, that is why the conclusion is unlikely to be false. Okay, there could be a possibility he developed an allergy. There could also be possibility he did not develop his allergies towards eggs. Okay, so when you have a slight doubt about the possibility for the conclusion to be true, sorry, to be false, hence, okay, hence it's a invalid argument. But this is actually a strong one. Now, for weak argument is where your conclusion is absolutely false because it doesn't link. Okay, so the example here is that Miss Farah is a lecturer. Okay, Miss Farah teaches critical thinking. Okay, so lecturer teach. So this is linked to each other. However, the conclusion here doesn't tally to your premises. It doesn't make sense. So when your conclusion is absolutely not making sense based on your premises, your conclusion here, okay, this is a weak argument. Therefore, it also falls under invalid arguments. Okay? All right. I know that this is quite a lot of things going on as well. Okay. Um, so I think okay, okay. All right. So we are going to start out. We are going to stop our class now because to avoid any kind of uh, people going crazy because of this. I know, right? So complicated. Don't worry about it. Can you guys just revise accordingly first, and I'll try my best to recap back again in our next class. Okay. So here, see, strong and weak argument is only for invalid argument. Is that right? Very good. Okay. So correct, Hornbeam. Uh, Strong argument and weak argument only falls under invalid argument. Let's see if I read the question correctly. Okay, yes, correct. Okay, correct. Okay, so invalid argument could be a strong one, but it could also be a weak one. Okay, but a weak argument is never a valid argument, or a strong argument is never a valid argument. So when it comes to valid argument, it's absolutely correct. There's no denying it. Okay, all right. Oh, okay, 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 okay. Is there anything else? Okay, so complicated. Strong and weak argument is only for, yes, correct. I think I answered that correctly. Yes, correct. You guys are absolutely correct. Okay, so take your rest. I know there's a lot of things to digest. So for people who could not even understand claim right here, this is absolutely hard for you guys. It means that valid don't have strong and weak arguments. Very good. Okay, so valid arguments are absolutely good arguments. So automatically it doesn't stop, Jelly. Okay, so absolutely correct. So go back again. Okay. So Strong and weak argument falls under bad arguments. Valid arguments are automatically good arguments. Got it? Okay? All right. So, to those of you guys who are still confused, try to look back again on my notes. Try to read back again, and then we'll try and recap back again. I'm gonna upload our recording today in our Blackboard. I'm going to upload it in my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to link the YouTube channel to you guys because this should not be available under BBCU because I'm using Google Meet. Okay, so go and take your rest, go and shower, and do whatever that you want. You deserve a short break, or you deserve something sweet for finishing today's class. I know there's a lot of things. Okay, thank you very much for attending our class for today. I hope that you guys are doing fine. So if you guys have any more questions, you guys can stay and ask questions. If not, you guys can take your leave. Thank you very, very much. Yes, I will upload this PowerPoint. Don't worry. Okay. Thank you. Have a good rest, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.